Oh, the woes continue for Marvel. This is probably going to be a big topic, especially today, because, I mean, everybody is talking about this movie right now. It's the hottest thing out, and not for good reasons, which, of course, leads to a lot of people laughing because they're right and have always been right when it comes to the way Hollywood has been moving. And then, of course, you're going to have people that are very upset because they thought brands like this were going to do big numbers because, of course, that phantom audience is always looking for a movie like the Marvels. And you're going to also see a lot of people trying to analyze what's going on. And sometimes they get pretty close to the truth. This is a pretty good rundown of what's going on. And I just thought it would be fun to go over it. Top writer says woke Hollywood's obsession with smug, mean, and reductive female characters who never show a softer side is ruining movies like the Marvels, as latest movie and superhero franchise tanks. I actually 100% agree with this. It's always the same character every time. They're mean. They look down on everybody. They're too good to be there. They have no weaknesses. They're not interesting at all. And when you have uninteresting characters, people don't show up. And that's exactly what's been going on for a long time now in Hollywood. They keep using the same type of characters, especially when it comes to females and people of color. So here's what he has to say. Hollywood's recent obsession with smug and mean characters is ruining movies, including the disappointing box office draw of The Marvels, author claims. Penned by Daily Beast contributor Frederick DeBoer, the piece claims the archetype is ruining releases such as The Marvels or Velma from the animated series by the same name. As of Sunday, the film has reportedly barely raked in $40 million at the box office, the lowest ever for a film from Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe. This comes despite a star-studded female cast by leading lady Brie Larson, as well as a series of full-blown pivots following the Jonathan Majors situation. That, in turn, caused Disney to reconsider its plan involving its next phase of inherently and often loosely linked sequels, culminating with the current follow-up to 2019's Captain Marvel, which DeBoer wrote as indicative of something greater. He talks about the Jonathan Majors situation there. I wonder what they're going to do with that. Trial has just begun with him and that whole situation, so we'll see what happens. I imagine if he's found innocent, they're going to move forward with their plans, modified, of course. But nonetheless, I think Kang will still be there. If he's found guilty, and keep in mind, there's nothing coming out next year except Deadpool 3, so they don't need him in anything. And they can figure out what they're going to do. They're going to reshoot Captain Marvel 4, at least a good portion of it. So if they pivot, it'll probably happen in that movie somewhat, I would imagine, maybe a mid-credits scene. And from what I've been told, when it comes to Loki Season 2, the way that they finished off things in there, they could pivot away from him if they wanted, if they want to do that, I guess. We'll see. But anyway, let's get back to this. So, that in turn, or as Hollywood has made progress in representing women in genre films, the industry also has developed a grating tendency to write the same kind of female characters, a series of tired tropes that inevitably leave us with women who insult everyone, never betray the invulnerability that actual human beings possess, and drop tired joke after tired joke in lieu of real dialogue, he wrote. And that's spot on, actually. It's a bunch of women that are just weird people that look down on everything. They say the same things. There's really no difference. They all have the same kind of character and dialogue. And this is not isolated to the Marvels. This is, in fact, a trope now, and it's a reason why a lot of people roll their eyes when they see yet another franchise go female-led, and they put these characters in there, and you could literally just interchange them despite what franchise they're in. So he's not wrong there, and nobody likes that. Nobody likes those kinds of people. They're the most unlikable people I've ever seen. Like, I wouldn't want to hang out with Carol Danvers. She sounds depressing to hang out with, to be honest. Even Monica Rambeau came off that way. I didn't want to hang out with her. The only one that was having fun in that Marvels movie was Kamala Khan. I usually think that actress was having a good time, and she doesn't play that character with smugness. She actually was probably the best of the three, and that's not saying much, but she, I think, does an okay job with her character. Problem is that the material surrounding her in this movie was dog shit. I can't say anything for the show. I didn't watch the show. That show was 100% not made for me, the Miss Marvel show, so I didn't bother watching it. I didn't want to watch it. Didn't see the need to watch it. It's okay that it exists, but I'm not the only one that didn't watch it. Why are you making stuff that nobody wants to watch? That's the real question there. Nobody wants to watch that show. And if you really just wanted to make a show based on identity, there's other characters that you could have grabbed that works for them better. How you could make a Storm movie, make one of her growing up, and then finding Professor X comes in at the end. You could do the Shadow King thing. That would be a great movie. And then, it's about a poor girl in Africa. Like, that would be a fine, like, people would watch that movie. Because, for one, Storm's interesting. And the Shadow King is a cool villain. That'd work. But modern Marvel wouldn't do that movie. Why? Because Professor X comes in and helps her. And you can't have a man help a woman. This is this is a part of the trope. That's the reason why She-Hulk didn't get a blood transfusion from Bruce Banner, because in the comics he saves her life because of an emergency blood transfusion, which also gives her powers. It wasn't a droplet of blood. No, it was a whole transfusion of blood. But in She-Hulk, they get in a car wreck and his blood gets on her accidentally, and therefore turns her into the She-Hulk. A tiny drop of blood, by the way. Because we can't have him saving a woman now. So they'd mess the Storm movie up too. Absolutely they would. Continuing, says, we're still stuck with strong female characters who are smug, mean, and reductive. DeBoer, an outspoken Marxist, tore into Disney for pandering in their new release, as well as other studios like Warner Brothers for much of the same. DeBoer stated his main qualm with the new movie is the persona of the character that's front and center and being portrayed by Larson. I don't like how Captain Marvel is portrayed in the original, so I'm not particularly interested in the new film. I find the way that they choose to characterize her really aggravating, and it's not an isolated problem. Tired of this kind of character. He says basically it's a parody of what feminine strength looks like. Women-led movies, women characters who are competent and self-assured, women characters who are funny, women characters who aren't afraid to mix up with men, women characters who demonstrate excellence and pride. We need more of all these things in Hollywood, he concluded. I mean, if you could write me a good movie that has a woman that is likable, funny, mixes up with men and can be excellent and strong and proud of themselves or whatever, like he's making it here, like, that's fine. I mean, like, the Kill Bill movies exist. I love those movies. But, of course, those movies have a problem because she's avenging her child. So those movies are problematic. because she's a strong woman who was a mother and wants her daughter back and is avenging her daughter. Can't have that because that's not a real motivator for women. It goes on a little bit more. Doesn't really offer big answers. It just skewers Hollywood. But I find it funny. Like, this guy's a big Marxist, and here he is calling out super woke Hollywood. Woke Hollywood is too woke that even woke people don't like it. That's what's going on now. It's gone too woke. It's too far gone woke. And it's turning everybody off to it. This isn't a Marvel problem. This is an industry-wide problem. And it's not going to change until, I guess, more movies fail. I feel like the writer's strike is waking some people up. I do think that you're going to see, more of a retreat to the middle, as close as they could get to it, because Hollywood is losing too much money, and the evidence is overwhelming that people don't want these boring-ass Mary Sue women. They don't want them. And how many more box office bombs is it going to take for them to learn this? I would have to think they're getting a little bit too close to the red. I mean, look at Disney. Disney is a good example. Disney is facing a massive threat from Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter. They can't avoid them anymore. Like that guy is going to get up and use his shares and get on the board. I don't know how they can get around that. Like, the time is coming for Disney, and they're not going to have a choice. They're going to be forced into changing, whether they want to or not, at least moving a little bit more back to the middle, because they've gone way, way, way far too left. So much so that Marxists are calling them out, which I find humorous. So, this is going to be a thing all week. It's going to be glorious and fun. And then we have the Hunger Games coming up soon with Rachel Zegler. And get ready, because Rachel Zegler can promote her movie now. And she's been promoting it. It's only a matter of time till she does interviews. And what magic that's going to be. We'll see how that movie does. That movie's predicted to be a box office bomb as well, so get ready for more. This is going to be Christmas time for content creators. I can tell you that. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I will see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.